Jack the Ripper. In 1888, a series of murders occurred in London's East End, primarily in the Whitechapel district. The perpetrator became known as Jack the Ripper, a name that originated from letters sent to the press. The victims were women, most of them living in poverty, and the crimes were marked by a level of precision and brutality that distinguished them from other cases of the time. The identity of this individual was never confirmed. The crimes generated widespread public fear and intense media coverage. Newspapers reported extensively, often exaggerating details, which increased panic and speculation. Law enforcement conducted extensive investigations, interviewing witnesses and examining crime scenes. But forensic science at the time was limited. During this period, numerous letters were received by authorities and journalists. Some were believed to be from the perpetrator, though their authenticity was never definitively proven. The tone of these communications suggested confidence, possibly even an attempt to manipulate public perception. Despite numerous suspects and theories proposed over the years, no conclusive evidence has ever identified the killer. The case remains one of the earliest widely documented unsolved criminal investigations, shaping modern approaches to criminal profiling and media involvement in investigations. The Zodiac Killer, between the late 1960s and early 1970s, an unidentified individual known as the Zodiac Killer, committed a series of crimes in Northern California. The confirmed attacks occurred in isolated areas, often targeting couples. What distinguished this case was the method of communication. The perpetrator sent letters to newspapers and law enforcement agencies demanding publication. These letters included encrypted messages, some of which contained symbols and patterns designed to conceal meaning. Decades later, a portion of these codes was partially solved using modern computational methods. Others remain unsolved, continuing to attract attention from both amateur and professional codebreakers. The Zodiac Killer demonstrated an awareness of media influence, using it to maintain visibility and control the narrative surrounding the case. Multiple suspects were investigated over time, including individuals with military backgrounds or cryptographic knowledge. However, none could be definitively linked to the crimes through physical evidence. The Zodiac Killer was never identified. The case remains one of the most studied unsolved criminal investigations in the United States, particularly due to its combination of violence and cryptographic mystery. JonBenet Ramsey. In December 1996, 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey was found dead inside her family home in Boulder, Colorado. Earlier that day, a handwritten note had been discovered in the house, appearing to be a ransom message. However, investigators quickly encountered two inconsistencies. The length and tone of the note raised questions, as did the absence of clear signs of forced entry. The timeline of events was unclear from the beginning. Evidence collected at the scene became a point of contention, and the investigation faced early complications. Reports later indicated procedural errors during the initial response, including contamination of the crime scene. Public scrutiny intensified as media coverage expanded, focusing heavily on the victim's family and personal background. Speculation grew regarding possible suspects, both within and outside the household. Over the years, advances in forensic science, including DNA analysis, have led to renewed examinations of evidence. Despite these efforts, no individual has been conclusively identified as responsible. The case remains open, with ongoing interest from investigators and the public. D.B. Cooper. In November 1971, an unidentified man using the name D.B. Cooper boarded a commercial flight in the United States. During the flight, he informed a flight attendant that he possessed a bomb. He calmly presented his demands: a sum of money and multiple parachutes. Authorities complied after the plane landed briefly, and the aircraft then took off again with a reduced number of passengers. At some point during the flight, Cooper opened the rear door of the plane and exited while airborne. He parachuted into a remote forested area at night, under poor weather conditions. A large-scale search operation followed, involving ground teams and aerial surveillance. No confirmed trace of Cooper was found at the time. Years later, only limited physical evidence was recovered, including a portion of the ransom money discovered along a riverbank. The circumstances of his escape, survival, and possible identity remain unknown. The case is unique due to the precision of the act and the complete disappearance of the suspect without confirmed evidence of his fate. The Black Dahlia Case. In January 1947, the body of a young woman was discovered in Los Angeles. She was later identified as Elizabeth Short. The condition of the scene indicated that the crime had been deliberate and methodical. The case quickly drew national attention, amplified by extensive media coverage. The nickname Black Dahlia became widely used, originating from press reports. Investigators pursued hundreds of leads, and numerous individuals were questioned. Some confessed to the crime, but their statements could not be verified or matched with evidence. Despite the scale of the investigation, no suspect was definitively identified. Over time, the case became emblematic of unsolved crimes in the United States. It has been re-examined by independent researchers and authors, each proposing theories based on available evidence. Decades later, it continues to be studied, discussed, and analyzed, reflecting the enduring impact of unresolved investigations. 3. Madeleine McCann. In May 2007, 3-year-old Madeleine McCann disappeared from a holiday apartment in Praia da Luz, Portugal. Her parents had left the apartment briefly while dining nearby. When they returned, she was gone. There were no clear signs of forced entry and no immediate evidence indicating what had occurred. The case quickly attracted international attention. Law enforcement agencies across multiple countries became involved, coordinating search efforts and sharing intelligence. Media coverage intensified, making the case one of the most widely reported missing person investigations. Over the years, numerous leads were investigated. Several individuals were identified as persons of interest at different stages, but no definitive conclusion has been reached. Advances in forensic technology and renewed investigative efforts have kept the case active. The disappearance of Madeleine McCann remains one of the most widely known missing person cases in modern history. Elisa Lam. In early 2013, a Canadian student named Elisa Lam was traveling alone in Los Angeles. She checked into a downtown hotel and maintained contact with her family during the initial days of her trip. Shortly after, communication stopped, and she was reported missing. Days later, hotel management released surveillance footage recorded inside an elevator. The video showed Elisa pressing multiple buttons, pausing, and looking into the hallway. Her behavior appeared unusual, shifting between hesitation and apparent reaction to unseen stimuli. No other person was visible in the footage. The video quickly gained international attention, leading to widespread analysis and speculation. Shortly afterward, Elisa was found on the hotel rooftop, in a location not typically accessible to guests. Authorities conducted an investigation and released an official conclusion regarding her death. Despite this, public debate continued. Questions remained regarding her behavior and the circumstances leading to her presence in that location. The case remains one of the most discussed modern mysteries, influenced heavily by the availability of visual evidence and online interpretation. 4. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. In February 1959, a group of 9 experienced hikers set out on an expedition in the Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union. All members were trained and familiar with extreme weather conditions. Their route had been carefully planned, and they carried appropriate equipment for the environment. When the group failed to return as scheduled, a search operation was launched. Weeks later, rescuers located their campsite. The tent was still standing, but it had been cut open from the inside. Personal belongings remained inside, including warm clothing and essential equipment. Footprints led away from the tent, some without shoes and others only partially dressed. The tracks extended into open terrain under sub-zero conditions. The bodies were discovered over a wide area, not in a single location but scattered across the landscape. Investigators struggled to reconstruct the sequence of events. The decision to leave the tent under such conditions raised critical questions. Several explanations have been proposed over time, including natural forces, environmental factors, and psychological responses to stress. However, none of these explanations fully account for all findings. The combination of physical evidence and environmental context continues to challenge investigators. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains unresolved, representing one of the most perplexing cases involving unexplained circumstances in extreme conditions.